Good afternoon. I am your host, Callie.
And I am Alex.
And you're listening to 88.3 FM WQRI, Roger Williams University Student Radio in Bristol, Rhode Island. And this is Hope Pod Live with your weekly news.
Hope Pod Live is Communities of Hope Civic Media's live radio show. We cover and share news about social justice on campus and in Rhode Island. Last week on Hope Pod Live, we interviewed RWU journalism professor and Communities of Hope director Dr. Bernardo Mata. And this week, we're going to switch gears just a little bit by having a live interview with RWU's own Debbie Knapman of Student and Family Services to talk about food insecurity. But first, here's some news from our partners, and we'll be right back with Debbie.
Good afternoon, we're Rosalind and Michaela, and here are your Rhode Island news updates for this week. The Providence Bruins announces key roster changes ahead of the new season. The American Hockey League team filled with the Boston Bruins have made important changes to their player lineup for the upcoming season. To keep the team competitive, they are adding many new athletic additions. These roster moves are a part of the team's strategy to maintain flexibility as they prepare for a challenging season.
The Bristol Town Council has approved a new Safe Streets and Roads for All plan designed to make local roads safer for pedestrians, cyclists, and drivers. The plan calls for upgrades such as improved crosswalks, expanded bike lanes, and better signage. By adopting the plan, Bristol becomes eligible for federal funding to support these projects in the coming years. The initiative follows months of community feedback highlighting areas where safety could be improved. Town officials say the goal is to create streets that are safer, more accessible, and better connected for all who use them.
Betty & Beau's launches new inclusive coffee shop in Providence. Betty & Beau's, a coffee shop chain known for their mission to provide employment opportunities to people with disabilities, has opened a new location in Providence. This coffee shop focuses on creating an inclusive and supportive work environment where employees, called baristas, receive specialized training and ongoing support. By welcoming employees of all abilities, Betty & Beau's helps build confidence, skills, and community connections while serving great coffee to customers. The new Providence shop aims to be a friendly place for everyone, promoting awareness and inclusion. They will be opening on October 25th of 2025 and also have a big ribbon cutting ceremony, so try to stop in if you can.
The East Bay Community Action Program is seeking volunteers to help deliver groceries and essential items to homebound seniors in Bristol and Warren. The effort is part of EBCAP's Portable Pantry program, which provides nutritious food directly to older residents who have difficulty leaving their homes. Organizers say volunteer support is vital to fighting food insecurity and ensuring vulnerable neighbors have consistent access to healthy meals. Those interested in volunteering can find more details on the East Bay Community Action Program's website.
St. Peterson's principal introduces personalized learning programs in Providence, but teachers resign. St. Peter's principal launched an innovative educational program recently in Providence to improve how students learn. The program emphasizes personal education. It combines use of technology like tablets and interactive software with collaborative projects and community involvement. The goal is to create a more engaging and supportive school experience, helping students build skills at their own pace and preparing them for a better future. Several teachers at St. Peterson's School in Warwick voluntarily resigned Wednesday, according to the Diocese of Providence. In a statement to 12 News, it was confirmed the teachers did resign, but did not provide an explanation as to why.
The No Kings protest movement is organizing a series of peaceful rallies across Rhode Island this Saturday, including several in the East Bay area. The group describes the events as a nonviolent stand for free speech and community rights, aimed at challenging what organizers call the growing concentration of power in government and corporate systems. Participants are encouraged to demonstrate safely and respectfully as part of the movement's effort to promote civic awareness and open dialogue among residents.
WPRI names best Halloween neighborhoods in Providence for trick-or-treating. WPRI recently highlighted the best neighborhoods in Providence for families to enjoy Halloween trick-or-treating. Neighborhoods such as Elmhurst and 10th Street are especially popular because residents put a lot of effort into decorating their homes with spooky and creative displays. These areas tend to have a higher number of families participating, making them safe and lively places for kids to collect candy. WPRI's list is a helpful guide for parents looking for fun, festive, and welcoming neighborhoods where kids can have a great Halloween experience.
The town of Bristol is inviting residents to participate in public workshops this month as a part of the town's comprehensive plan update. Revised every 10 years, the plan sets long-term goals for housing, transportation, open space, and economic development. Town officials emphasize that community input is essential to ensure the plan reflects Bristol's shared values and priorities. Workshop schedules and participation details are available on the town's website at bristolri.gov. Bristol's Portmaker Project, a public art and wayfinding initiative celebrating the town's maritime heritage, is nearing completion. The final markers are being installed around town, connecting Bristol's downtown, harbor, and historic waterfront. The project combines design and storytelling to help residents and visitors explore the community's deep ties to the sea. Updates on the project's official unveiling will be shared on the town's website and through local media in the coming weeks.
And that's a wrap on your local headlines for this week. Thank you for listening. We're Rosalind and Michaela, and we'll see you next time with more news from Rhode Island.
Thank you for listening to our most recent news story. We now have Debbie Knapman here for our interview discussing Swipe It Forward and food insecurity.
All right. First, Debbie, I want to thank you for being here.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to have this opportunity to talk about the programs that we have here on Roger Williams, some community partnerships. Thank you so much to you all, Communities of Hope, and Professor Mata.
All right. So getting started with our first question. So just kind of generally tell me about your roles at Roger and everything you do here. I know you're kind of a jack of all trades here and you do a bunch. So tell me about that.
Thanks, Alex. So my formal titles, and by the way, Debbie Knapman, she, her, hers. My formal titles are Director of Student and Family Assistance as well as Commuter Life. And excuse me, what I do when I talk about, the way that I try to serve this community and the students here on campus, what I say is I work with students who may be facing challenges in terms of their ability to be successful, to be happy, to thrive here at Roger Williams. And that can take different forms. So I might meet with students to connect them to on or off-campus resources. Sometimes there's financial security issues, so that could include food insecurity or other forms of financial issues. I work very closely with Commuter Life and our commuter population, and we distinguish between off-campus students who are living in apartments in this area with each other. So, Roger students living together, as opposed to our true commuters, as we've started to regard them as the students who commute from far distances sometimes and live at home with families. So I get to work with Commuter Life, our amazing commuter ambassadors, and what we do in terms of Commuter Life is just work to engage commuters a little bit more on the Roger campus, recognizing that they have challenges that res students or even students living in Bristol neighborhoods don't have to face per se. I also teach yoga at the rec center, so I love to talk about that because yoga is so good for head, heart, body, and soul. And I believe that is the primary things. Oh, forgot something. So I also work with a group of other staff to provide mental well-being trainings across campus, and that can be with faculty, with staff, with students, and we hope to be rolling out some additional initiatives. So keep your eyes peeled for that.
Very cool. Tell me about how you got started in, working with food insecurity and really supporting students and people in the community who need it.
Great question, Alex. So I started working here at Roger Williams 10 years ago. I'm a clinical social worker by training, and I was in our counseling center for 8 years. So 2 years ago, I moved into this position. So I don't do counseling in this position, but I definitely serve students in a different way, but still trying to help them to feel their best, be their best, and do their best. So part of what I took on in this role is to oversee the emergency financial resources for grad students and undergrad students. So law students have their own supports in place through the law school, but I work with grad and undergrad students. So I think just recognizing that for some students, they come from homes or maybe even live on campus and don't have the money that they need to buy nutritious food. So we have started one new partnership, but there was an existing one that I inherited, and those are the supports that we currently have in place for students around food insecurity.
You mentioned a mental health support program. Tell me a little bit about that and kind of how that came to be.
Okay. We just came from a meeting discussing this, and we had partnered with a Providence College public health professor. And she actually, yes, she is public health. So she had created a curriculum that just works with, that provides information and training to really anybody in terms of recognizing mental health concerns. So it's a easily accessed, easily understood 90-minute training that, again, students, faculty, and staff can choose to participate in. We've done some training with RAs, we've done some training with OAs, so orientation advisors, but we hope to kind of spread the word a little bit more, only because we know that mental health concerns are a huge issue for college students. So helping them to identify when they may be struggling, or friends of theirs, roommates of theirs may know that they're struggling, and how to help them and connect them to the resources. Because I'm one person. We have 4,000 undergrads. Probably a relatively large number of those students are struggling. A lot go to the counseling center, and that's amazing. Some get services off campus. But what we hope to do is intervene early on through early identification and prevention and earlier connection to resources, so concerns don't, kind of get out of control, if you will.
Yeah, mental health support is super important, especially at this time in a lot of our lives, and college can be stressful. And so mental health support is super, super important. So we're going to switch back to kind of talking about food insecurity. How do you see that impacting Bristol, Warren area as a whole?
Great question. So I was lucky enough to work in the public schools in Bristol and Warren before I started working here. And I remember, and my stat is old, but I remember hearing that 40% of students in Bristol Warren received free or reduced lunch. So obviously there were financial challenges that those families were facing. There is an amazing resource right in town called the East Bay Food Pantry. That's one of the organizations we've partnered with. I can talk a little bit about that if you'd like. But they have such a robust program to provide free food to really East Bay residents, but also for our Rogers students. Rogers students can access it even if they're from California or Connecticut or whatever. They also have a great... Alex, who works in our office, who's one of my interviewers, knows that I'm a thrift girl. So they have an amazing thrift store that then helps to fund their food initiatives. So I highly recommend that as well.
So talk about the East Bay Food Pantry. This may kind of predate your to entry into the role, but how did that partnership kind of form? And tell me what that's like now.
Actually, excitingly, this is a new program that we started so it would be spring semester 25. So Michael Walsh of the Intercultural Center and I had been meeting with all different sorts of folks about food insecurity. And we knew that there was a problem. We knew that the Swipe It Forward program, which I can talk about, has many, many requests for help around food insecurity. So we wanted students to be able to access or reduce any barriers in terms of accessing the resources that East Bay Food Pantry provides. And I would say go on their website just to see all the different items that if you register with them, you can actually order. But anyway, so Michael and I, and Michael really has been taking the lead, has been working with the East Bay Food Pantry to hold food insecurity registration drives. So we've had a couple on campus, and we've alerted students. And basically, just simply put, you can go to the East Bay Food Pantry during certain hours with your Roger ID. You don't need to provide any verification around income or your license or where you live. You register to become a client of theirs, and then on a regular basis, you can order food that Michael has arranged to be delivered to the Intercultural Center. So it's just hopefully a way for students to get the food assistance that they need without potentially, facing a ton of stigma, because we know there's a lot of stigma associated with some of these financial issues that students struggle with.
Right. So are the food that people are, students are receiving, is that like delivered to them, or do they go pick it up? Like, what's the process for that?
Great question. It could be either. You could go online, order the food that you want, depending on the schedule, because certain days they offer certain types of food. So you can go and pick it up, and you can just do that on your own. You don't have to involve me or Michael or have anything to do with Roger Williams. But if it's easier for you to have the food delivered to Roger Williams, then you just indicate that you're a Roger student and that you would like it delivered. And then Michael has a schedule of every other week delivery. He has a staff assistant in his office who goes and picks up the orders and brings them to the IC.
So it definitely makes it easier on students and those who need it.
I would think so, yes. And I highly recommend, if anyone even has a glimmer of food insecurity, register for this program, because they're there to help and they are amazing there.
So we're going to kind of talk a little bit more about the Swipe It Forward program.
Okay.
So how did that program start? And how do people donate swipes, and how are they accessed for students who need them?
So the Swipe It Forward program does predate me. I think it's been around for maybe 7 or 8 years. And basically, students who imagine that they will have extra swipes left over at the end of the semester, at any point in the semester, can donate one regular swipe. And if they have an extra guest swipe, they can also donate one of those. So 1 or 2 swipes a semester. And the reason that I want to just highlight this is because if students are interested in maybe donating them swipes, we encourage them to look at the Swipe It Forward program. People are so generous. It's amazing. They just don't know about the program. So the way that they do that is you can go to our website and then click on a link. It'll bring you to a Hawk Link form. You fill it out, you put in your information, and then a swipe is removed from your meal plan. There's also posters and things on the TV with QR codes, if that makes it easier. Amazingly, Communities of Hope students will be having some tabling events. So if you see them and you feel like you would like to donate, so grateful that you all are able to do that as well. Because swipes are really low at this point, which is alarming to me. And it's very sad as well, because students who might have been able to be awarded more swipes earlier in the semester, now if they return, there might not be swipes to give them. I'm always available to meet with students and tell them about the different resources in the community, because I'm pretty familiar with what's what, but some folks don't have cars, so they can't get off campus. Or, it's just really difficult. They might not even have kitchens to make food. And the other thing I want to mention about the East Bay Food Pantry, I'm circling back, they are 1 or 2 blocks up from our shuttle stop. I believe one of them. They're located on Wood Street next to Brick, if you're familiar with that area. Common Pub. I don't know if I can say that. So they're right there. And like I said, they're a great group. But the Swipe It Forward program, that's the way that you donate. If you are in need of swipes, then you can simply email me or Michael Walsh and just request some swipes to be added to your account. And then there's, a quick process that happens, and we try to work with as many students as we can.
So are students only able to donate 1 guest swipe and 1 regular swipe, and that's it? Or are they able to donate more?
No, that's it. So per semester, basically 2 in total if you end up with any guest swipes. Because sometimes students use their guest swipes, as they should.
Yeah, when family comes to visit.
Exactly.
You can visit the dining hall.
Mm-hmm.
So is there any way that you foresee us able to improve the system? Every system has its flaws. Is there any way that you would suggest or could think of to improve this system?
great question. I would say in many ways, you're already doing that. You allowed me to come on and talk about these programs, so thank you so much. You're going to be tabling to increase the Swipe It Forward fund. Just spreading the word, food insecurity is kind of a dirty little secret. There's nothing at all to be ashamed of, but there is some rather well-off students on campus. But alongside those students are students who are just struggling to make ends meet. Books are expensive. Food is wildly expensive. So the other thing, if I can do a quick plug, we also have an emergency fund. So students, there are a number of things that we can help to pay for. So that is another financial resource for students. You would look at financial resources at Roger Williams University, and you scroll down, and then there is a link to fill out a request for the emergency fund. So that's a little bit more robust this year than it was last year. So I just want to plug that as well, because we're always willing to help students when there's an emergency or unforeseen circumstance.
So this is like another resource on campus that I don't know if many people are aware of, but there's the Intercultural Center's kitchen. I know this is more of Michael's expertise, but I know you work very close with him. Do you think this has had a strong impact on the food insecurity on campus?
I think students have some ideas about the IC. Like you need to have certain social identities to access the kitchen or, to go and hang out there. It is a welcoming, warm, wonderful space, and anyone can go and anyone can use the kitchen as long as you clean up after. There is a process to sign up. I'm not as familiar with that. I was just talking about it with a student yesterday. Anyone can use it. You just have to, be respectful and sign it up. And it's there for anybody at all. Thank you for mentioning that, Alex.
Yeah, I know it's a resource that, like I said, not many students know about. And if students don't have the ability to cook in their own dorms or where they're living, I think that could be a good resource for students.
Absolutely.
So last, we're quickly approaching the holiday season, and every year we do the Thanksgiving basket food drive. Can you tell me about what that's going to be like this year? And I know we don't have Casey Ferreira here anymore, so without her, she was the former director of Feinstein Service Learning and Community Engagement. For those of you who aren't familiar with who Casey Ferreira is, she would oversee the food drive. So Debbie, tell me a little bit about what that's going to look like this year.
So I know that different departments, maybe different clubs and orgs, I'm not sure about the student side of it, they organize to just create these baskets that I do believe end up going to families that the East Bay Food Pantry serve. So I know, for instance, in Student Life, which I'm a part of, Nancy Costa is organizing this. If students are interested, I'm not exactly sure where I would send them because, I'm so sad about Casey. But if they have any questions, they can reach out to me and I will direct them to where they need to go, because that is one thing if I don't know the answer, I will find out.
Yeah, that's super helpful. And then last question, what impact are you seeing? This could be campus impact, community impact, general, a combination of the two. Just what are you seeing positive?
In terms of the food insecurity programs or the Thanksgiving basket, what specifically?
Sorry, I didn't specify.
That's okay.
Food insecurity, just
okay.
What are you seeing impacting? Are things like the food drive helping? Are things like the Swipe It Forward program making an impact?
I would really like to think that they are. But an interesting stat is that one of the main reasons that students stop out or drop out of college is because of financial concerns. So if the choice is between, and I've gotten these requests, I need to pay for my books or I need to buy food, or I have medicine I need to buy or I need to buy food. Students worked so hard and I'm amazed at their resilience. And yet, if you're not fueling your body, if you're not getting kind of good, regular, nutritious food, how can you do your best? Like I said at the beginning, So my hope is these programs are helping, and I think they are. We've gotten some feedback from students that have graduated, testimonials about how it was important to their success here. If anyone has any suggestions or ideas, I am always willing to run with those ideas. There's other sustainability or food programs that we have explored, except we need sometimes the students to take on those things. We used to have the Food Recovery Network many years, probably 5 years ago. I don't know if people are familiar with that, but because student interest was not there, that program, fell out of, it's not a part of anything that happens here. And what they did is they took the excess food that Commons would have at the end of the night and bring them to area shelters, homes for domestic violence and other community supports. So that's not happening anymore, which is really sad.
Yeah. It's always sad when students and families can't meet their own can't access the resources they need. So I know I said that was my last question.
That's
I lied.
okay.
I have one more.
Okay.
What are you most proud of at your time at RWU so far?
Oh my gosh. I wish I'd known this was going to be asked. Now I have to think. Most proud of. I think really making the commuter life program more robust. Some of the amazing events that we have been able to offer. Commuter Appreciation Week was a 4-day event last April, I believe, where we just brought the community together. We had Swoop at and moving the commuter lounge to where it is now, so in Lower. We at one of our events, we had Swoop, we had Roger, the president's dog, we had Lake of Blue, another therapy dog. So just seeing everybody in the commuter lounge and people interacting, we had faculty, we had students, we had staff. That was really exciting, and frankly, it made my heart sing.
Yeah, anytime the university community can come together and all be together in that kind of environment is always great.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you, Debbie, for your time and talking to us about what you do and Swipe It Forward and food insecurity. It's always super, super useful to talk about and provide resources for. So thank you for coming.
Can I just share my email so people are aware, or can I not do that? I can't. Okay.
I'm gonna say it on the safe side and say we can't provide your email.
Okay.
But
where's the best place they can go to talk to you?
Look at the website and find my contact information, and I will meet and talk with anyone who's interested. But Thank you for making me pause. And thank you for having me. This is amazing.
Yeah, of course. Thank you again, Debbie.
Yes, thank you so much for coming on. It's been a pleasure to meet you and to talk to you. Sorry, I can't fully. If you guys were in the booth, you'd be able to see that Debbie is behind me, so I can't fully turn around to go talk to her. But thank you very much.
Of course, Callie.
For everything. So we just want to let you guys know that you're listening to WQRI 88.3 FM, and this is Hope Pod Live. Hope Pod Live is a production of Communities of Hope Civic Media, a program of the Department of Media, Design, and Communication of Roger Williams University. So thank you for tuning in and listening to our interview with Debbie of RWU Student and Family Services. And we'll be right back after a quick PSA. All right, we are shifting gears. Excuse me while my voice sounds groggy. That was a lovely interview. Yeah. I really enjoyed having Debbie here. We are really enjoying our new additions of having live interviews during the week. So it's been a great time, and we've really enjoyed it. So thank you for listening to our PSA. We are now going to be playing another quick episode, and we'll be hearing from our foster care team about the rate at which Black children are evicted from foster homes. So please tune in to our quick episode about that.
This week on SJN, the foster care team will be talking about the inequality Black children face within the system and the disproportionate rates at which they are evicted from foster homes. We will provide insight into the blind removal pilot program, as well as how Los Angeles County and UCLA have been implementing this in their government. Black children are disproportionately present in the foster care system. Although they make up about 14% of children, they represent around 22 to 23% of children in foster care, and they are removed from their homes at excessively high rates. Black families are more likely to be labeled as neglectful because of their overrepresentation in impoverished communities. Schools, hospitals, and law enforcement agencies are more likely to report Black families, increasing investigation rates. Legal definitions of neglect and lack of preventive resources led to removals even when families need assistance, not separation. Research suggests that even when comparing children at similar risk of future maltreatment, Black children are more likely to be removed and placed in foster care. Disparities in housing, healthcare, and employment contribute indirectly by increasing the consistency with which they come in contact with the system. This overrepresentation persists even when accounting for poverty and neighborhood factors. The implementation of the blind removal pilot program addresses racial disparities within the foster care system. The initiative removes the identifying information such as race, ethnicity, and locational data from deliberation materials during removal decisions, with the intention to reduce bias when deciding whether to remove a child from their home. The order of deliberation goes as follows. Redaction. Clerks redact any information that could reveal the child's race from the case file. Blind removal meeting. A committee of child welfare professionals reviews the redacted case information. Consensus decision. The committee, with input from the initial investigator, reaches a consensus on whether to file a court petition for removal, deciding without knowing the family's racial background. Problems caused by the system. These issues lead to unstable educational outcomes for these children. A UCLA study of Black youth in foster care found that only about 51% of Black foster youth graduated from high school on time, if at all. Suspensions are also much more common among Black youth. They were suspended at a rate of 17% compared to 2% for the general student population in Los Angeles County. Due to these issues, they feel discouraged from going to school, causing chronic absenteeism. The chronic absent rate for Black foster youth in LA County was 34%, which is significantly above the district average. Though it is important to mention that this program is not perfect, removing identifiers may sometimes obscure relevant information. Mental health effects. Children of color in foster care, especially Black and Indigenous youth, often face worse physical health outcomes, more developmental delays, chronic illnesses, and face more barriers to accessing care. There are also disparities in psychosocial, mental health, educational, and employment outcomes, especially for older youth leaving care or aging out. A good representation of this is the meta-regression study that found that those of color in foster care have lower odds of employment or substantial earnings in comparison to white peers. Outcomes after foster care. A study by the National Youth in Transition Database finds that even after existing state care, African American youth are less likely to be employed and are more likely to report incarceration. How can we overcome this issue? We can offer more support for families to reduce risk factors such as poverty, housing instability, substance use, mental health, etc., so that removal is less often required. We can require training to reduce implicit bias in decision-making, clear guidelines, oversight, and accountability. We can have child welfare professionals who reflect the communities they serve. There should be more consistent definitions or thresholds for neglect versus abuse, alongside more transparency and removal criteria is needed. Racial disparities in foster care is not only a question of fairness, but also linked to long-term outcomes for children in a health, education, economic, and stability standard. Overuse of removal burdens families unnecessarily, and underusing removal can also harm children who are actually at risk. Disparities affect both overplacement and underprotection depending on context. The blind removal initiative is a promising but partial reform. Data shows striking disproportionality in child welfare driven by intersecting factors: poverty, bias, and institutional structure. To achieve real equity, we must combine procedural fairness with social and economic supports that stabilize families before crisis. Systemic transparency and continuous evaluation will be key.
All right, thank you for listening to our SJN episode. Alex, take it away.
If you're interested in learning more about what we've talked about today, in addition to the stories we've produced in the past, take a look at our social media at Communities of Hope and at HopePodLive_COH. Our website, communitydrivennews.org, will also hold our past shows, and we're going to take a quick break for some news. And when we come back, we're going to switch out our hosts. I'll be leaving and Alana will be taking my place. So I want to thank you for tuning into this week's of Hope Pod Live and tuning into our interview with Debbie.
So right now we're going to be discussing a recent story with our Solutions Journalism Network team that who did research on it over the past week. However, we would like to give a trigger warning for discussion of child abuse and sexual abuse. While this topic is something uncomfortable, it is something that is very important we discuss and we bring awareness to. So without further ado, I'm going to discuss the story that they covered. A report by Amanda Hernandez revealed that Maryland is facing thousands of lawsuits related to sexual abuse in juvenile detention centers under a 2023 law called the Child Victims Act. This law removes the 20-year time limit for survivors to sue public and private institutions for abuse that happened during their childhood. The article highlights the story of Avery Fauntleroy, who was sexually abused by correctional officers during his stay at Charles H. Hickory Junior School in Maryland. His experience reflects a problem across the country where juvenile facilities have faced repeated abuse allegations since the law passed. Over 3,500 people have filed suits in Maryland.
While the law helps survivors seek justice, state officials worry about the financial burden, especially with Maryland facing a $3 billion budget gap. Lawmakers are considering changes to limit damages and define abuse claims more narrowly, sparking debate among advocates. The investigation also notes that similar lawsuits and reforms are happening nationwide as state update laws to extend the time survivors have to face coming. Excuse me, guys.
You got this.
I forgot how to talk. I'm sorry, guys. Where was I? The investigation also notes that similar lawsuits and reforms are happening nationwide as state update laws to extend the time survivors have to come forward. Experts say juvenile facilities often lack oversight and are dangerous to vulnerable youth. More information and resources can be found at Rhode-IslandCurrent.com or by contacting the National Sexual Abuse Hotline at 800-656-4673.
Thank you guys for listening to our story from SJN. We understand that it is a heavy topic. However, like I said earlier, it is something that is important to our values as an organization and something important for us to spread awareness for. However, we're going to make it a little bit of a lighter discussion for the next 15 minutes.
Yeah.
But before we switch out our hosts. So once again, we'd just like to thank Debbie for coming here and remind you that you were listening to WQRI 88.3 FM at Roger Williams University in Bristol, Rhode Island, student radio. So thank you very much for tuning in and listening.
For our last few minutes, we've talked about a lot of difficult topics today, from food insecurity with Debbie and now sexual assault and mistreatment in foster care systems. Callie, let's just have some nice conversation.
Yeah, just have some nice little banter really quick before we got to switch over. I know that our banter the last episode I was here, unfortunately I was not here last week, was a very popular one.
It was
very popular, very liked among the crowd. So yeah, this is just something to kind of lighten the load before we transition again. But yeah, anything new going on, Alex?
It's cold out, guys. It's fall.
So cold.
Fall is here.
So
It's sweater season.
Mm-hmm. I'm in my sweater right now.
Hot cocoa season. It's time for all things warm. Sweatpants and blankets.
And I have all three. I have sweatpants on. I'm wearing a sweater, and I have a blanket with me because the booth is freezing.
Yeah, it's so cold in here.
But yeah, actually, one of my best friends who goes to Coastal Carolina is visiting for the weekend. So I just know that this is going to be so awful for her to come back to, because it's 70-degree weather there every day.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah, I just can't believe it. I also was asked to do a quick shout out for one of our listeners. Okay. So one of my best friends, Ariana, is currently listening to us right now. She's all the way up in Salem, Massachusetts. So quick shout out to our listener, and hi, the person walking by the booth.
We appreciate you listening.
We do.
Far and wide as possible.
Yep, we do indeed. So yeah. Yeah, anything going on with you? I know we just talked about.
I know. Me and my roommates now, it's not the best topic, but we're watching the Ed Gein documentary on Netflix, the Monster
Oh.
series. And like every night we just like after dinner sit down on the couch together and watch it, and like it's so fun. We're watching episode by episode. We're not letting ourselves binge it right now.
Oh, wow. You guys are strong. For
I
that.
know.
Really strong.
I'm the one who's like another episode right now.
That's me every time.
And thankfully one of my roommates has the willpower and strength to say no, just
Wow,
one.
Thank God. Yeah, I am also unfortunately the same way, and I just like to binge everything. I also started that series, but I never finished it, so I need to get
really
into it. I was doing homework while watching it, so then I was like tuned out.
Okay, I know.
So
this is when you gotta like lock in for.
I know. I really need to. I really need to get on that. My friend is actually currently watching season 3 of Ginny and Georgia.
Okay.
Have you watched that?
I haven't. It's on my list. It's one of those I keep meaning to go back to.
Season 3 is crazy. It's so insane. But yeah, so she's like, I think she's like 2 episodes away from finishing.
Is season 3 like the last season? Like, or is there?
No,
like,
there's
another?
gonna be a season 4.
Okay, there's more.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think they already started filming, or they're starting
It's
filming
in the
in the
works.
spring, something
in the
like that. Speaking of something being in the works, did you watch Euphoria? I know.
I did.
Oh, okay, I was like, I feel like you're gonna say no. Okay, good.
No, I love
Have
Euphoria.
you seen what just came out about the cast for next season?
No.
Zendaya's not in it.
Oh,
How? I don't know, but they posted, HBO Max and Euphoria posted on Instagram, and it was like returning cast and new cast. First of all, Trisha Paytas is in the new cast.
so funny.
And Natasha Lyonne, which love of my life.
Love her.
Love her so bad. But yeah, so Trisha Paytas is in it and Zendaya is not.
Tell me how this show is gonna go on. Like Zendaya's like character
girl, what
1A.
about that suitcase? What about that suitcase?
Right.
I've been thinking about that suitcase since that season ended.
Yeah, we need to know. Like, do you know when season 3 is coming out? Like, I know there's been so many times.
In the spring.
In the spring?
They
Okay.
announced it today, I think, or yesterday, that it comes out in spring 2026.
I'm so happy.
I'm gonna look at why is Zendaya not in Euphoria? No, not in Spider-Man Home, please. Because I'm just like really confused on. Oh wait, apparently it says Zendaya has not been absent from Euphoria. She is in season 3, but its production and release has been significantly delayed.
Yeah, I know there was like delays for season 3 and they weren't going to do season 3 because Zendaya like couldn't be in it or something. But then she like was like, they changed it and like she's in it now. And it was like, a whole
actually,
delay.
You're so right. Because I remember seeing clips pictures at the beginning of the year about how she was filming in a car. I just remembered that.
Yeah.
I remember like literally seeing photos. So actually, fake news that I'm spreading over here. Euphoria may have just like lied to us. I don't know why. Maybe it's because the other actors hadn't been like seen yet.
Yeah, it was all up in the air about whether or not she was going to return because like there was conflicts with something else that she was working on. So I think it was something like that.
Huh, very interesting. Switching gears really quick, we just want to highlight that this weekend is homecoming and family weekend. Very big weekend at Roger Williams University.
It is.
I believe tonight is casino night.
Yeah, it does kick off tonight.
Yes, I believe it starts at 7:30. So if you guys, excuse me, if you guys want to go play some casino games without actually being in a casino, then take a trip down to the rec center, I believe.
Yeah.
It starts at 7:30 and it goes till 9:30. But yeah, it's supposed to be really fun. Supposed to be a great event.
Take your parents.
Unfortunately, will not be there. But if you guys find yourself bored on a Friday night at Roger Williams University, then take a quick trip. There's also going to be bingo and Fall Fest, I believe. So very exciting things going on over there. But yeah, so if you have your parent here and they're listening, hey parents, I believe this is playing in the dining hall right now. So if it's playing in the dining hall, hello parents that are visiting.
Hope you're enjoying your lunch.
Yeah, I hope it's good. I hope it's great. I saw a lot hanging outside of Lower earlier. So yeah, hope you guys are gonna have a great, fantastic weekend. The weather's supposed to be pretty nice.
It is.
It's not supposed to be too bad.
Enjoy the nice weather. Take some time with your family.
Yeah.
Decompress a little bit.
Oh yeah. Okay. Anything else going on?
I don't know. What have you been doing recently?
What have I been doing recently, Alex? This is a fantastic question. I've been doing a lot of homework. I have a very big midterm due on Monday.
It is midterm season.
It is midterm season, which is not fun, but I power through. I have about like the way my professor's doing it is that we can turn in any assignment. If we like got a bad grade on it, we can resubmit
redo
it.
Yeah.
And not to air myself out, but I did recently get a B- on a quiz. So I will
A B-? How
know,
dare you?
I know. But we only have like 5 assignments, so that would take my grade
Yeah, that hurts.
basically down a letter. But anyways, yeah, I'm going to be doing that all weekend.
Fun.
And then I'm also hosting a little Oktoberfest get together with family and friends at my home. So very excited for that lovely weekend. We just had a sprinter by the booth. I don't know what's going on out there, but something urgent it looks like.
Yeah, that was a little alarming. Okay, just get there safely.
I think maybe he's just continuing his like, oh my god, I just hit the mic. I just kissed the mic a little bit. I think he may be continuing his cross country journey, maybe.
Right through the rec center.
Right through the rec center, just straight on through, outside all the way through and around. I mean, you gotta do what you gotta do, right?
Yeah, run for the hills.
Right, exactly. We thinking about switching to music?
Let's do it.
All right. I added
tunes.
new fun tunes to our playlist a couple minutes ago, so I'm hoping that they play well. Let's see. What do we want to play today, guys? Oh, you know what is a beautiful, amazing fall song? California Dreamin'.
Yes.
So here is California Dreamin' by the Mamas and the Papas. So take a listen, and we will be back in about 5-10 minutes with Alana.
Yeah, about 5 minutes.
All right. Kick back and relax, and remember that you are listening to WQRI 88.3 FM, Roger Williams University Student Radio. All right. Thank you very much for listening to our quick little music break. You are listening to 88.3 FM WQRI, Roger Williams University Student Radio in Bristol, Rhode Island. And this is Hope Pod Live with your weekly news. We have now welcomed our lovely, amazing, beautiful host, Alana.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Callie, for introducing me, as you always do so well. For our next segment, we will be hearing from our Queer on Campus team and their most recent story. But first, here is another quick PSA and then some news. All right. Today, our Queer on Campus team will talk about a new case that has entered the Supreme Court, Chiles versus Salazar. The case focuses on Kaylee Chiles, a licensed counselor who is a practicing Christian. She believes that people are at their best when they live consistently with God's design, including their biological sex. This is an ongoing case discussing conversion therapy being brought to state.
All right, now we're going to play that quick interview for you guys. So thank you for listening to Hope Pod Live.
How does the current Colorado law banning conversion therapy relate to the First Amendment?
Yeah, so the Colorado law concerns a very narrow issue within a therapist practice. So it bars, mental health professionals from providing clients under the age of 18 with conversion therapy as a whole. The reason this case was brought is because Chiles is a therapist who uses talk therapy in a form of conversion therapy, essentially. So she talks with minors about, I think it's in her mind, seeking to reduce or eliminate unwanted sexual attractions. And because of that, she brought the suit arguing that her speech was being infringed upon because she couldn't talk to her clients about what she wanted to talk about, essentially. And the First Amendment, as most people know, it protects a person's speech from being infringed upon by the government. So if the Colorado law is preventing Chiles from speaking certain ways during her practice, she's saying that that is a First Amendment violation. And there's something called viewpoint discrimination. within the First Amendment, which essentially says that the government isn't allowed to single out a specific subset of ideas. So in this case, that would be her views that she wants to express during therapy. And when it comes to the First Amendment as a whole, that is what her argument was, essentially, that this law is preventing her speech. The issue with this case as a whole is that the lower courts didn't exactly see it that way. So she brought it to the lower court first in Colorado, the district court. And essentially, she's bringing this suit, and she asked the Colorado court that while she was bringing this suit, can they prevent the state from implementing the ban? So she's still suing, but in the meantime, can they do this? They said no. And then she appealed to the 10th Circuit, who agreed with the district court, but their reasoning was that the First Amendment wasn't implicated there because the conversion therapy ban was regulating someone's conduct. So the therapy itself couldn't happen, not the speech. So they said that the law was preventing certain treatments to the clients and that it might affect her speech, but that was just incidental. So when this was brought to the Supreme Court, the real issue that is coming into play is this actually a law that infringes directly on her speech, or is it just incidental? And the reason that matters so much is that with the First Amendment, if the First Amendment is implicated, if this is something that is infringing on her speech, the court has to follow a different standard of review, essentially. It's called strict scrutiny, and there's a presumption that the law would be unconstitutional. So the only way that the law could stand is if it serves a compelling government interest. So Colorado would have to point to something, and typically the court only upholds things when it has to do with like national security, something to a very heightened standard. And that interest has to serve that interest in the least restrictive way possible. So it's easier to show that there's a better way to do this if whatever the state's interest is, they could serve it in a different way, in a better way that's less restrictive on, in this case, a therapist's speech. But if the Supreme Court were to agree with the 10th Circuit, with the appeals court, and say that this is just regulating their conduct as conversion therapy as a whole and not just this talk therapy, then the court would follow what's called rational basis review, which has a presumption that the law would be constitutional. And the only way to overcome that, so the only way that Chiles could say the law is unconstitutional, is if there's no interest that the government could have whatsoever, which isn't true. I mean, the government can point to there's a growing mental health crisis, that conversion therapy, there's a lot of science behind it not working, it being detrimental to people's health. And so they can point to this interest, and it has to not be rationally related to that interest. So essentially, if the First Amendment applies, it's difficult for Colorado to say that this law can stand. But if the First Amendment doesn't apply, it's pretty easy, and Colorado is able to continue with the law.
Absolutely. Now that the arguments were heard on Tuesday, October 7th, what are the next steps in the process?
As I understand it, once the oral arguments are heard, the justices will have a conference of some kind. So they'll talk to their law clerks to get their perspectives. They have a few people working for them. Law clerks they do a lot of the research for the justices. They speak with them about here's cases to look at, here's what laws to look at, stuff like that. So they'll probably talk to their law clerks. Then they have this conference where only the justices are allowed. As I understand it, like police aren't allowed, the law clerks aren't allowed, no one else except for the justices. And each justice has an opportunity to state their views on the case. They raise questions, they raise concerns, and they can't be interrupted. They just say, here's where I'm coming from, here's what I'm thinking, here's how I think we should rule. And then they each do their first vote. And so they speak and vote in the same order of seniority, essentially. So they'll start with the Chief Justice and then speak in descending order. If all 9 vote, there's going to be a majority. And it's typically the most senior person in the majority will assign who's going to write the opinion. And then if there's a dissent, the most senior justice in the dissent would also write an opinion. There might also be concurring decisions where it's that you agree with the outcome of the case, but you agree with it for a different reason. And so they might write a separate opinion essentially. And then after they vote, after they assign the opinions, they actually write the opinions. And the hard part about this is that they have until the last day of the court's term to hand in that opinion. So if they wanted to, they could wait until, late June, early July. There aren't any rules about when it has to be released. Normally, if the decision would be unanimous, they might be released sooner. But when it comes to if there's a dissenting opinion, if there's a concurring opinion, they all have to essentially agree. So if 5 justices are on the majority, a majority opinion is written, and then it has to be sent out to the remaining 8 justices. Everyone has to look at it. Then a dissenting opinion might be written based on that opinion, or a justice that originally was in the majority might decide that they don't actually agree with that. Maybe they want to write a concurring opinion. Maybe they want to join the dissent. So there's a lot of time that goes in between all of this, just because they have to all agree with the product that is published essentially. And what's difficult too about this case, based on, after arguments and after hearing what certain justices were asking, the case might not even, actually decide if the law in Colorado is constitutional or not. During oral arguments, I think Sotomayor, Jackson, and Barrett, they all kind of indicated that even if the First Amendment did apply in this case, it might not even be up to the Supreme Court to apply it. So it might not be up for the Supreme Court to say, is there a really important government interest involved? Is this narrowly tailored? Is this, the least restrictive way to go at this governmental interest? Instead, the case is technically still ongoing in the lower courts, so they might just send it back and say, we've determined that the First Amendment is involved here, and this is the standard you have to apply, but we're not even going to apply it. So, we might not find out until early July that the case is just going back to the district court in Colorado to be decided with just a more certain standard.
Absolutely. Sounds like a long process.
All right, thank you for listening to the first half of our interview between RJ and Alison Brochu, who is a current RWU law student. This is 88.3 FM WQRI Roger Williams University Student Radio, and this is Hope Pod Live. Currently, like I just said, we are listening to a recent Supreme Court case discussing conversion therapy from our Queer on Campus team. So we're just going to play the second half of our interview. So take a listen. This is RJ and Alison.
What impact do you think this case could have on the LGBTQ community?
There have been, conversion therapy has been debunked by, scientists and doctors and survivors of conversion therapy. It's seen to be dangerous and deceptive. The difficult part with this law specifically is that it's banning, and truly the reason I think Chiles was able to bring this case is it bans conversion therapy as a whole. And in her mind, talk therapy is not the same as the conversion therapy that most people think about of, like shocking people and, physical ways to somehow in their minds convert someone else. But the impact to the LGBTQ community is really, there are, I think, close to 30 other states who have similar bans. And if this law was deemed unconstitutional, then it might lead to the other states having the same issues. They might have to take them away as well. And in taking away those laws, it's reinforcing this stigma and about LGBTQ identities. People who have been subjected to conversion therapy, they have higher rates of depression and anxiety and suicidal thoughts. And so it really, no matter how this case is decided, if they decide to knock down the law, if they decide to put it back into the lower courts, and even just talking about it, it's getting more people to have opinions about it. There's less regulation. There would be less regulation of conversion therapy as a whole if this law was knocked down and if it led to other laws being knocked down. And what's interesting about this, and I think another issue that was brought up in the Supreme Court, was that the therapist, Chiles, wasn't actually, nothing happened to her. This law wasn't enforced against her. She just she brought the suit saying that she was afraid something was going to happen to her. And so what's interesting about this is the law was in place and it didn't even seem to be enforced. But having it actually written down as, this is a policy that the state has, it was gearing toward, ending this stigma and ending the idea that like conversion therapy was a valid version of therapy. And if if the law is deemed unconstitutional and this leads to other states having the same issues, then it can have, very bad impacts to the LGBTQ community just because they won't know what help they can get. And they might be fearful of going to therapy, of what they're going to talk about, what it's going to lead to, if they're going to feel pressured in any way by the therapist. And so it's hard to know right now, not knowing what the court is going to say about it. It's hard to know exactly the impact, but there are various routes that the court can take that could lead to very detrimental impacts.
You mentioned that the conversion therapy ban hasn't really been enforced, and but Chiles does something a little different in talk therapy. Would talk therapy be under that conversion therapy umbrella in the law?
So they seem to say that the talk therapy is under that same umbrella. So when I was reading over the statute, it's broad. So the statute itself is the act prohibits licensed physician from engaging in conversion therapy with a patient under 18 years of age. And the way that they define conversion therapy is efforts to change an individual's sexual orientation, including efforts to change behaviors or gender expressions, or to eliminate or reduce sexual or romantic attraction or feelings toward individuals of the same sex. So the way that conversion therapy is actually defined in the statute is very broad. And for good reason. It's all encompassing of, any version of conversion therapy. So the reason that the First Amendment is involved here, even though the statute itself doesn't say you can't use conversion talk therapy, the form of therapy that Chiles was giving to her clients, under the age of 18, would be considered conversion therapy because it was like reducing or eliminating these sexual attractions, which would be under conversion therapy. It's her trying to to change their behaviors, to change their sexual orientation. And so that's why, even though conversion therapy as we see it or as most people see it, is this physical conversion somehow, talk therapy would be involved in it as well.
Definitely. Thank you for the clarification.
Of course.
And also, why do you believe the Supreme Court decided to take this case?
That's a good question. The Supreme Court is very good at doing what they want to do when they want to do it. I think when looking at the law itself, it is a very it's a sweeping law. It's very broad. And so I think it's a case that can be decided in different ways, which I think the Supreme Court sometimes likes to take. The thing about the Supreme Court is they can take any case and decide it on any issue. And so even if it's an issue that isn't really, in front of them, they can decide for different reasons that, didn't really weren't really brought before them. And so I think because the statute can be seen as a little bit vague or the definition is very broad, they kind of have the perfect plaintiff here. So Chiles, because she uses talk therapy, it's a good way of getting at the law through the First Amendment in ways that I'm sure people did. I can't, verify that they did, but if therapists who were using, physical conversion therapy, they probably wouldn't successfully get to the Supreme Court because that is a much bigger issue in people's eyes than talking. And so I think even with, with the political climate, we've seen the Supreme Court taking cases, similar to this. I think they've taken cases that have to do with gender affirming care, and they seem to be focusing on the medical practice and medical, therapy with the LGBTQ community lately. And they can, take whatever cases they want to take. And I guess this is the route they've been taken lately of, what issues they want to talk about and how they want to talk about them.
Definitely. Right. And then thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me.
All right. Thank you for listening to our episode of Queer on Campus. Alana, take it away.
That was a very interesting case that we look forward to keeping up with. If you're looking for more information on LGBTQ plus related issues or other podcasts or stories, make sure to check out our website at www.communitydrivennews.org and look for Queer on Campus.
Thank you again to our Queer on Campus team. You did a fantastic job this week with our interview. So shifting gears, we are going to be taking a look at our immigration team. This week, they talked about sanctuary cities, how judges and other legal professionals are reacting to various recent federal government changes, and the responses from governors of numerous states after being accused of impeding upon law enforcement agencies. Excuse me. We had a yawn outside the booth. So I'm going to be playing our episode again for our immigration team. So thank you all for listening, and take a listen to our immigration team. Thank you very much.
On August 13, 2025, Attorney General Pam Bondi sent a letter to numerous states' governors accusing them of getting in the way of law enforcement agencies, specifically immigration enforcement. Bondi states, under President Trump's leadership, full cooperation by state and local governments in immigration enforcement efforts is a top priority. The letter was written to notify the states of their unlawful sanctuary status and potential violations of federal law. The letter was sent to the leadership of California, Connecticut, Delaware, Illinois, Minnesota, New York, Oregon, Vermont, Washington, and Rhode Island. It also went to the cities of Albuquerque, Berkeley, Boston, Chicago, Denver, East Lansing, Hoboken, Jersey City, Los Angeles, New Orleans, New York, Newark, Patterson, Philadelphia, Portland, Rochester, Seattle, and San Francisco, along with Cook County, Illinois, San Diego County, California, and San Francisco County, California. These cities and states are considered sanctuary jurisdictions. These states may face unknown penalties if they do not comply with ICE officials. One of these possible penalties being loss of federal funding. The end of the letter stated, "You are hereby notified that your jurisdiction has been identified as one that engages in sanctuary policies and practices that thwart federal immigration enforcement to the detriment of the interests of the United States." Bondi also requested that all states respond to confirm their commitment to, quote, complying with federal law and to outline the immediate initiatives that are being taken to eliminate the laws, practices, and policies that impede federal immigration enforcement. All jurisdictions on the list were required to respond by August 19th, a few days after Bondi sent the letter. Many state leaders responded in different ways. Some complied and wrote letters back, like Mayor Eric Adams of New York, Mayor Wu of Boston, and a few others held press conferences and rallies in addition to press releases, and some did not have a proper response. Sanctuary cities are cities that decide to limit their cooperation with federal immigration enforcement in order to create a safe environment for all residents. This allows undocumented immigrants to build trust with local law enforcement officers so they can report crimes without fear of getting deported or arrested. Undocumented individuals can give tips and testify in court as witnesses. In other cities that are not sanctuary cities, immigrants are in more apparent danger. Once they are arrested, their information gets put into a federal database that is accessible by ICE officials. ICE officials can then issue a hold asking the police to keep them there until someone can get to the police station to start the deportation process. In 2014, Governor Shafi established a new policy that agents of the Rhode Island Executive Branch shall not detain an individual pursuant to ICE detainer unless ICE has obtained a judicial order of deportation or removal from the United States for the individual. This has been enforced in the state of Rhode Island since then. However, these are not considered policies that threaten the work of ICE officials. Since Rhode Island has practices and policies that have identified the state as a sanctuary jurisdiction, Governor Dan McKee was among the state governors who received this letter. McKee ignored the deadline for a response and later stated to WPRI, "There's nothing to answer. It's a very generic letter. It's a form letter." McKee makes it clear that this letter does not change his views and that Rhode Island cooperates with federal law enforcement as required, but the state does not have to provide resources to enforce federal immigration laws. Following this, he stated, "If the Trump administration takes issue with this, then the doors of the federal court are open to them. Until that point, my focus is elsewhere." Mayor Michelle Wu of Boston responded to Bondi's letter saying, "Boston will never back down from being a beacon of freedom and a home for everyone." In addition, Governor Ned Lamont released a statement in response saying that even calling Connecticut a sanctuary state is wrong. He writes that term has no legal definition and is not an accurate description of our laws and practices. Earlier in this statement, he said, "Requiring law enforcement officials to prioritize public safety in no way makes a state sanctuary. We prioritize public safety work with all agencies, federal, state, and local, to keep dangerous criminals off the street." Following the Attorney General's letter, the Mayor of Providence, Brett Smiley, joined other community leaders in signing a Safe Providence for All executive order on September 22, 2025. This order stated that Providence remains committed to being a safe and welcoming city for all neighbors of all immigration statuses, which reinstated that Providence will continue to be a safe city for all different people. Smiley wants to make it clear that Providence takes pride in its large, diverse population. The executive order states, "Providence's strength and vitality comes from the diverse waves of immigrant communities that have called our city home." Temporary Protected Status, or TPS, has allowed immigrants to work and live in the United States legally. The order states that recent federal changes to threaten or terminate TPS and target immigration enforcement indiscriminately destabilizes our families and community. Mayor Smiley, along with Colonel Oscar Perez Jr., have declared that the Providence Police Department should not and will not be immigration officers. They will not ask a person's immigration status, and they will not proactively collaborate with ICE to supply information. Local police will collaborate with ICE if they have a judicial order for a specific person. In all other cases, local police cannot enforce federal immigration law. Being in the country illegally is a civil offense, not a violation of criminal law that the police traditionally engage with. The City of Providence ensures they will continue to support all community members and prioritize, quote, "effective public safety strategies," meaning they will continue to provide emergency legal support for immigration processes. Smiley and Perez also call on the U.S. government to keep the strategies that have proven to be successful to reduce violent crimes, which include violence intervention programs. They hope that the federal government will, quote, "restore funding without requiring local law enforcement to engage in civil immigration matters." The order also asked the U.S. Congress to continue the Temporary Protected Status program for immigrants fleeing their countries in cases where they cannot return to their homes because of extraordinary circumstances such as violent conflicts or environmental disasters. In addition to the Trump administration wanting to put an end to sanctuary cities, there have been attempts to cut funding of the Victims of Crimes Act, the Bryn Justice Assistance Grant, and Violence Against Women's Act. The acts have federal grants attached to them, which provide the resources for undocumented immigrants who have been victims of domestic abuse, sexual assault, and stalking. Last month, the Department of Justice told the states that they can no longer use these funds to help undocumented immigrants. The grants allowed states to protect immigrants who have been victims of domestic violence, human trafficking, and other violent crimes. This would apply to future funding and the grants that have already been awarded. This was scheduled to go into effect on October 31st, 2025. In Rhode Island, the Victims of Crimes Act is the main source of funding for services provided to victims. In 2024, the state received almost $3 million in assistance funds and almost $300,000 in compensation funds. This allowed the state to help 41,015 individuals with assistance funds and 635 individuals with compensation funds across multiple nonprofit organizations.
Thank you for listening to our immigration team discuss recent federal law changes. If you want to learn more, please reach out to Communities of Hope on our Instagram at HopePodLive_COH. Now, Alana is going to be discussing some student media on campus.
There is a new campus publication out now in collaboration with the Society for Professional Journalists, SPJ, and Communities of Hope titled The Capsized Tribune. They write on a variety of topics from campus updates to investigative pieces. There is always something going on. Check out their Instagram at Capsize Tribune or check out the website at capsize.rwu.me for our most recent stories.
The Hawks Herald is Rogers' news outlet with their latest edition of the paper in newsstands around campus since last Thursday. Stay tuned for the second paper coming out to you next Wednesday. You can also check them out online at thehawksherald.com or follow them on Instagram at the Hawks Herald. You are listening to 88.3 FM WQRI, Roger Williams University Student Radio in Bristol, Rhode Island. And this is not our show for today. I was gonna say the wrong thing, excuse me. However, we are here every Friday from 12 to 2 p.m. We appreciate your listening for today. Alana, we're gonna just kind of shift gears a little bit again to kind of tie up the rest of our episode, where we will just have some light discussion like before with me and Alex. Obviously we cover some heavy topics here, and we just want to make sure that in the end it's a little light and happy. Sorry, our lovely photographer and boss Claire is coming in and out of the booth to take some great photos of us. So anyways, changing the subject. Alana, how's your day been? How you doing?
My day has been good. I had my one class, and I'm here. I love doing the radio show, so it's always something fun to come and do.
What kind of class? What class are you in?
I had my digital communications class.
Ooh, who do you have for that?
Professor Al Cutting.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah, he's so great.
I was thinking about taking it next semester, but I don't want to take a Monday, Wednesday, Friday class.
That's fair.
So, quick shout out is that advising indeed does start next week. Please make sure you're reaching out to your advisor to make sure you're getting your schedule all set for the spring semester. And if you are a freshman or a sophomore and you are a double major, please make sure that you have 2 advisors. That is a very important thing to check in on and make sure that you have all set. So just make sure you got that all figured out. I think I'm going to have a very easy, beautiful, breezy schedule next semester.
Yeah?
Yeah. How's yours looking?
I don't know. I honestly haven't even looked at mine. I should. And my advising, I think my advising appointment is like a couple weeks. I think 2. So I have a little time.
Yeah. You do. I have right now, I'm hoping to be doing an internship for credit in the spring. So I might be able to take 4 classes. Yes. So I would have Monday and Friday off. And then I would have 1 late class on Wednesday. So basically Wednesday off.
Beautiful.
Thank you, Claire. Had a quick pop in again. But yeah, it's looking good and it's looking grand. So I'm excited. Anything else going on with you? Any new any new media you're intaking or anything of the sort?
Not quite, but I do want to mention that the Women of Color Club here on campus is having a breast cancer awareness fundraising event. It will be on Monday, the 20th at 7:30. We're going to have a little bit of informational type things. It's going to be really fun. We're going to have food. So again, 7:30 Monday.
Where is it?
It'll be in the GHH atrium.
Okay, good to know. Good to know. good
GHH
to know.
atrium. We'll also, I think we're having our table time on Sunday around dinner time, and I think we'll be selling little like pink stuffed bears.
Oh, cute.
So that'll be cute. I think
Very
they're like
exciting.
$3 a bear.
All right, all right.
And all of those, I think most of the proceeds will go to 2 different breast cancer research centers. So if you're not a fan of breast cancer, come and support.
donate.
Yes.
Another quick plug is that Campus Democrats meets on Wednesday at 7 p.m. in GHH 106. If you ever feel like coming down and having a good time with some new people, we are a great little club, great little community. I'm currently the vice president, and it is a blast every single week. So if you ever want to join us and you're not too sure when, where, or how, you can message us on Instagram at RWU Campus Dems. We are a very fun and exciting crowd, so please come in. Please come in and join us. And with that, Communities of Hope is always looking for new members. So if you are interested in what we're doing and you want to come down and take a look, we meet on Mondays at 9 a.m. in GHH 113.
I think so.
It's the newsroom. There's a big, huge letters on the wall.
There's like arrows that point.
Yeah, there's arrows that follow it all the way around the wall. So it's right near the elevators in GHH on the first floor. So come and join us from 9 to 11 a.m. on Mondays if you're interested.
Or get in contact with Bernardo Mota.
But yeah, that's us. Anything else you want to discuss or add?
I don't think so.
All right. I think I'm gonna talk a little bit about music.
Absolutely.
For a hot minute. Yeah. Okay. All right. So I'm taking over the next like 5-10 minutes, if I do say so myself. I have been on my music grind recently, guys. I don't usually have a lot of you know how like Spotify comes out with Spotify Wrapped every year. I usually don't have that many minutes because I don't know why. Most of my free time I spend watching podcasts or shows or something. Except this year, I think it's gonna be pretty high. I use a lovely app called Airbuds, which is fun. I like that. I like that app a little bit. But yeah, it like tracks all like your music and how many minutes you're listening to per artist and like per day and per week and whatever. So yeah, I've been in my Leve grind recently. I love Leve right now. She just came out with a new album. I want to say like a month ago, roughly, give or take. Let me see. When did she release it? Leve new album. Let's see. It came out, if Spotify wants to tell me, but Spotify never want to work. It came out August 22nd. So right around move-in for Rogers students. But it is full of some really, really beautiful and amazing songs. She is a jazz singer. And it's just very beautiful. So I'm gonna play her song Silver Lining. Just kidding. I'm gonna wait 1 second before I do. Alana wants to add something, so sorry.
We actually have a few more, just like 2-3 more things I want to add.
All right.
Next week is Charity Week with our Muslim Student Association. They are going to be having events every day next week. I think on Monday they have like a chai fundraiser, so they're going to be out selling chai, which is great. And then I want to say they're also doing a bake sale partnered with Rick and I want to say another college, but I can't remember right now. So definitely, if you're looking for a sweet treat,
Yes, it is Rick. Sorry, I just double checked. It is October 24th.
October 24th.
In the Commons from 11 to 2, and every purchase will go to Charity Week's global child relief efforts.
Right. So if you're looking for a sweet treat, head out there.
It's looking yummy. For another thing is that, excuse me, Tim White will be speaking at Design Club about AI art. So if you're interested in taking a look at that, go to Design Co. This week, I believe it is on Tuesday. If I do say so myself, I'm pretty sure it's Tuesday 2 to 3 or 3 to 4. One of the two. Don't quote me on that. So if you guys are inclined, you can look up Roger Williams Design Club and on HawkLink, and their meeting time should be there. Thank you so much for listening to that lovely, beautiful, amazing song by Leve. That was Silver Lining. Once again, I genuinely think that is one of my favorite songs ever. I want it to play at my wedding. I think it's so beautiful and perfect. Shout out to my girlfriend for introducing it to me, but it's great. Oh.
It's really nice. I love it. That was my first time hearing it. I enjoyed it.
Good. I'm so glad. Oh my goodness, I am so sorry, guys. I just threw my phone at y'all. To continue our lovely little jam sesh, I know we're keeping it a little low key with our music today, which, I guess it's kind of typical for us, but you gotta keep the vibes good. So shifting gears, I think I'm gonna play some Lizzie McAlpine. Lizzie McAlpine is one of my favorite artists of all time. Hi Shania. Sorry, Shania is just one of our lovely, beautiful, amazing producers. Is looking at me from outside the booth. So just a quick shout out to her. Hey girl. What I was going to say is that Lizzie is one of the most talented people on the planet. I swear to God. I love her very deeply. I've seen her in concert twice now.
Oh wow.
She's incredible. Her most recent album, Older, came out just about a year ago, I believe. Was it a year ago? I think so. What are you giggling at?
I'm in my group chat and we're talking about music right now.
And
so they're all listening, and not to interrupt, but they were like,
no, please.
The topic. One of my friends, they were like, "Can the topic be the new Shawn Mendes album that's going to be coming out?"
Wait, that's coming out or came out?
I don't know, because I don't think it's out yet. Me and my friend, we went to see Shawn Mendes a couple weeks ago.
No, you didn't.
We did, and he's my all-time favorite. I love him so much.
Why have we never talked about this? He's one of my all-time favorites.
You serious?
I saw him for is it the album called Shawn? No, not Shawn Mendes. Is it Shawn Mendes? The one where it's like the flower.
Oh, the flowers, yeah, yes. Shawn Mendes.
I saw that in concert.
Oh my gosh.
Why did I not know?
He's one of my all-time favorites. And like, I think in August he like announced that he's working on a new album, but it's not like we don't know anything about it yet.
Got it.
But I was telling my friend about it yesterday. But he also released a new song like earlier in the week with Eddie Benjamin. I haven't listened to it yet because I've been busy, but
no, we can do. we can play it. That's the beauty of this. Sorry guys, I gotta figure out how to bring my. Hold on, just give me one second.
Or maybe a little cramped in here. It's okay.
The microphone is like very not close to my face, so I'm like breaking my neck trying to reach it. Let's see. Let's take a gander at what's going on.
Let me see. Oh, there it is.
This one? Home.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Can we play? Oh, it's an EP. Oh, no, it's not. Just kidding. It's Eddie Benjamin's EP, and then Shawn Mendes is just featured on it.
Oh.
But before we play the song, his album, Shawn, that came out in last November.
Yes.
Is so beautiful.
It is so beautiful.
It's so good.
Oh my God.
It is so good.
I'm still I'm in shock. I'm I can't believe I saw it live.
I'm
I'm
so
in
jealous
shock.
because I wanted to go. What day was it? Was it the No, because Renee Rapp was October 2nd. Was it September?
No, it was Oh, yes.
Was it September 19th or something like that?
Yeah. No, it was the 20 something because it was I was oh, next week because I was plotting. I was oh, next week he's in New York. We should go to that too.
Oh my goodness. That was me when I saw Harry Styles. It was September 25th.
September 25th.
I saw Harry Styles 3 times in concert. I saw him in 2021, and then that was for Fine Line, his album Fine Line. Beautiful, amazing album. Go listen to it. And then when he came out with Harry's House, I saw him twice. I saw him at MSG, Madison Square Garden in New York. Night 10, night 10, I think. Because he did residencies, so he played 15 shows in New York. And it was the best night of my entire life. It was the best night of my entire life. I think about it all of the time. all of the time, and it happened 3 years ago, and I think about it all of the time. And then I saw him in Austin, Texas, about a month after, for my sister and I's birthday, because my mom had a conference in Dallas, so she was like, "All right, here's your birthday present. Let's go see Harry."
I love that. That's awesome.
So incredible. I think about that all the time too, because my outfits for both of them were pretty fantastic.
I believe it.
Pretty fantastic. Anyways, going back to Shawn Mendes, Lizzie, I'll get back to you in a minute. We are gonna play the song "Home" by Eddie Benjamin and Shawn Mendes. So take a listen. I thought it was pretty good.
I enjoyed it. I'll always enjoy Shawn Mendes.
Okay. Right. I feel as though low-key we didn't listen to it a lot, but that is fine. We were just chit-chatting
a little bit.
Just a little bit. Don't you worry, because we got more music coming your way. But like I say every 15 minutes, you are listening to WQRI 88.3 FM, Roger Williams University, Bristol, Rhode Island student radio in Bristol, Rhode Island, excuse me. And this is Hope Pod Live. Every week we are here Friday from 12 to 2, talking to you about some recent news going on and keeping you updated properly on everything that's going on in our lives and in our country. So tune in if you want to stay updated on federal, state, local news and everything going on campus.
I like that. Keeping you updated on our lives and what's going on in our country. I like that.
Right. Hello, people outside the booth. I don't think they can. I don't think they heard me because nobody
looked
up. But whatever. It's fine. Next, I'm going to be playing another one of my favorite songs by guess who? Miss Lizzie McAlpine. We did not get to give her her flowers before.
I'm sorry, we got distracted.
That's typical. It's okay. So I think I'm going to play. Excuse me. I'm reading as I'm talking, which never ends well for me. I'm going to play "Come Down Soon," which is a incredible, beautiful song. I hope you guys really like it. This is from her album Older. She also has a deluxe version called Older and Wiser, which has, I believe, 5 extra songs on it to make it a deluxe version. And I think it is one of the most perfect albums that's ever been created in mankind, especially the deluxe version. Unfortunately, our show is indeed wrapping up. So you are listening to 88.3 FM WQRI, Roger Williams Student Radio in Bristol, Rhode Island. And this is our beautiful, lovely show for today. Please tune back in every Friday from 12 to 2. And thank you so much for listening. I am your host, Callie.
And I am your host, Alana. We also had our co-host, Alex Tavalone, with us earlier. You can find our recordings at communitydrivennews.org or follow us on social media at Communities of Hope and at HopePodLive_COH to stay up to date on all Communities of Hope news. Stay tuned for Looking Good with Matt Madden from 3 to 4. Thank you for listening to WQRI 88.3.
Thank you to our partners and collaborators, such as East Greenwich News, Eco RI News, Ocean State Stories, Salve Regina, Providence Eye, the Public Radio, the RIPBS, Rhode Island Current, and RI News Today. This program was brought to you by Communities of Hope Civic Media, and here are our credits. Thank you guys so much for listening, and tune back in next week.
Alexa Benson Amaranti,
Ashlyn Keating,
Addison Mason,
Anna Pellegrini,
Abigail Stark,
Brenna Medeiros,
Claire Kelly,
Joshua Gahegan,
Kylie Meadows,
Lugina Lurival,
Matthew Downey,
Michaela McDonald,
Naja Young,
Rachel Cabral,
Rebecca Scheffler,
RJ Rune,
Sarah Price,
Zara Atai,